But I'm excited to be here this morning. This class is going to be all about our hips today and some side bends because I am very sore, very tight, and hopefully y'all's work today is not making you feel that way, but that's okay. And so, as always, let's get started laying all the way down. And I'm going to bend my knees here, knowing that you are more than welcome to do the same. And starting to breathe deeply once again. Thinking of how our morning has been so far. Maybe we've had a lot going on. Maybe we just got out of bed and I envy you. Knowing that you're doing a great job today in preparing your day for lots of movement or for maybe lots of seated work, getting in your movement before that. Allowing ourselves to appreciate where we are in life right now. We get so caught up in our goals and our intentions sometimes that we fail to see the goals that we set a long time ago that we're achieving now. Trying to allow us to find happiness right where we are, and knowing that we can still find that happiness even when we move forward and when we achieve those goals. But knowing we can find that joy through the whole journey. Let's stay here for one more breath. Oh, I'm sorry. Um, Reaching out the toes now, far onto the mat. We're gonna point them here. Reaching the hands overhead, we reach them nice and long. A nice stretch. And then as we take our hands to the shins, let's give ourselves a big hug, rocking from side to side. I'm going to do just a little bit more floor work today, not core work, don't worry. Um, and so I wanted to start us off early. And next, instead of going side to side, starting to go in little circles around that tailbone. And then alternating the circles once we get to the top. And let's take 2 more circles. And last one. Bringing in these knees once again. Let's do a little bit more work on our arms now. So the feet come down to rest. We can still have that bent knee here. And we're going to take our left arm, left arm all across the body and really stretching it out here, then opening back up right away. So we're still keeping this movement dynamic. We can take our arms out to a T to make this a little easier, and we stretch. I'm gonna move down on my mat just a little bit so that y'all could see me a little bit easier if that Zoom name thing is in the way. But going through this once again, reaching out, chest expands, and then pulling that arm to us, floating it away. Let's stay here for 3, 2, and 1. Now our hands will come right down to our sides. We reach all the way over and we circle the hands down. And let's do this 3 more times in this direction. Inhale, overhead. Exhale, hands to hips. Inhale once again, overhead. One more time. And now meeting me back at the bottom of the hips, we are going to circle our hands up and then place them down together. And let's stay here for 3, 2, and 1. And we're going to move back to our hips. So let's go ahead, taking our right ankle over the left knee, rocking from side to side here. We can put those arms out into a T again, or we can reach for our hamstring. And when I reach for my hamstring, I'm also pushing my elbow against my leg to feel a little bit more tension in that stretch. And making sure we're rocking back and forth here. Once again, keeping the movement dynamic. Our body's getting used to working today. It's actually really interesting. When you're doing a static stretch or a static hold, um, your blood pressure actually goes up, which is really cool. Blood pressure and heart rate both skyrocket because you're trying to maintain that hold of the muscles. And let's switch sides. So that's why it's really important to keep doing our dynamic exercise here. Yeah, I loved the idea of exercise physiology in school. I loved learning about it. It was so interesting. But the body is so complex. It was a good time, but that's okay. It's done now. And now I just get to learn about it for fun. So let's stay here for 3, 2, and 1. Oh, excuse me. So holding on to both of our knees. And we are going to start to roll the head, neck, tops of the shoulders up. So forming a little ball, we find a crunch and we rest back down. Let's do 2 more of those. Crunch. The gaze comes right at the thighs. Our neck is long in the back. Let's relax. And 1 more. Envisioning taking the chin towards the chest first, and the rest of the spine builds. Good. Let's take a hold of 1 knee, using that momentum to roll ourselves up to a seated position. So I'm going to turn and face y'all. You can stay facing whichever direction that you'll be in today. Yeah, we'll do that for now. Let's hold our hands up towards the ceiling, inhaling here. Exhale, dropping 1 hand down to the side. We reach into the side bend, pressing back up. We reach, fall down to the other side, and do this a few more times on each side. And so I work, just in case I haven't said it so much already, but at an independent living and a assisted living, teaching group fitness and doing some personal fitness type of things. Today we're doing fitness testing, so that'll be fun. But I got such an ego trip because I was teaching the standing class to them. This one lady was like, "How long have you been doing ballet?" I was like, "Never." That's not me. But let's come back up to center. And now walking our hands right to our knees, lifting up the head up towards the ceiling. And we're going to take our hands, floating them over to the other side, and then making our chest proud here. So allowing the shoulders to roll back. Take a big inhale. Exhale, roll back to center. The hands find the knees once again. Come over to the other side. Once again, lift that chest. That clavicle is clear. Turn back to center. Let's do a few, maybe one more on each side. And back, last one. Good, let's come back to center now. We're going to do lots of hip mobility in the next few minutes. So we'll be going through a hip mobility drill, reverse to stretch, then a drill, and then we'll go back to the stretch again. So it should feel good. It's not anything that we have to be stressed about. And so we will go ahead here and let's take our right leg. The shin comes right in front of us. If this pose makes us feel uncomfortable, I want us to come right back to our crisscross. And so then we take our left knee and connect it with that right toe. And so just like we did those side bends, now we'll come over to our right side and find that side bend, and we can put that elbow down here if we'd like. And exhale, twisting towards our mat. This is our mermaid stretch. We'll hold it at the end, but let's unwind. We press back up using our core. Let's do 2 more of these. We bend, stretch, opening back up, we press up. 1 more. Oh, but I explained to the lady who asked me if I did ballet that I've been teaching Pilates and doing Pilates for 5 years now, so or doing Pilates for 5, teaching for 3. Let's put those arms down. Next, switching to the other side. So we're gonna lean back and bringing the left leg in front of us now. Feel free using our hands to help. This is not the workout yet. I know we've done these drills before in this class, but it was a few weeks ago now because I was in my Katie house. And so let's put one hand down now to the left and we reach over. Oh, but I explained that in Pilates, we have ballet-like influences because there's a lot of dancers who do this here. That's how Pilates got popular, at least in the US. Let's come back up. Bend once again. I could talk about the story of Pilates forever. I know if y'all talk to Courtney Bassett, I took her kinesiology 199 my freshman year. And that also helped with my indoctrination to Pilates. Let's do one more over to this side. And unwind. Let's come all the way back up. We already got a taste of what we'll be doing next, so we're right on time. And let's use our hands first here. So we are going to lean back and switch those feet again back to our original position. This is something where we are all going to have to go at our own pace, depending on how long we've been awake, depending on how our hips normally feel. But just for this drill, we're going to lean back and switch. So we're opening up our hips here. Option to lean kind of forward and then back as we switch, still using our hands, unless you're done using your hands. And then we can raise them up towards the chest, holding them here, and now using that core to hold ourselves still. Leaning back, switch. And once again, you do not have to go at this pace that I'm going at. My freshman year is one of those times where I was thinking back to my freshman year in that 199 Pilates class, and it's like I am living how I thought I wouldn't be able to have. Like, I didn't think I'd have any of the blessings that I have today. Um, and so it's really cool, but I'm like, I saw Courtney, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like, she's just working and she has a husband. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. And now I'm engaged, which is nice, and I have a job. Let's do one more on each side. And we're gonna pause wherever we are, either side, and we'll start to press ourselves up into a seated position or a standing, kneeling position, and then reach back down. And then we'll switch. This can just be an option, especially if our knees are like, absolutely not. That's okay. This side might be like that for me. Nope, it was not. But coming all the way back, both feet can reach all the way out in front of us. I know that we aren't exactly long ways on our mat, or maybe we are, but that is okay. So with our feet all the way up in front of us, let's inhale those hands up towards the ceiling, maybe flexing those toes, but I don't want to because they're going to show at the bottom of the screen. And then we're going to reach the chest forward, the head elongates, we reach. Feeling the back of our legs here. If we're flexing the feet and raising the toes up towards the ceiling, we're going to feel it down the back of the legs as well. Let's stay stretching here for 3, 2, and 1. Walking all the way back up. Great. Next, let's come on to our knees. So this time I do recommend that we move in a horizontal position for our mat. I might move to the back of my mat, maybe a little bit more, so that y'all can see me a little bit more. But now that we are in our kneeling position, if we don't feel like we have enough cushion here, I want us to bend our mat underneath and put our knees there. Knowing that's a great option here, I'm gonna undo it though real quick. And now we'll take our right leg over to the top corner of our mat. So noticing that it's in front of us instead of right in line with this hip. And now that we're here, we have a slight itty bitty bend in this knee to make sure we don't fall into it. And then we bring our hands out to a T, leaning over to just the knee side first. We start to side bend. So now I'm going over to the left, even though my foot's at the right side over there. We find that side bend once again, feeling that stretch down the back of the glute here. And if we'd like, pressing the hips forward, reaching the chest back, and then we take this hand behind us, making sure the supporting elbow is bent and those hands are super wide so that we have a lot of support for that wrist. Pressing through every finger muscle there too. Let's stay here for 3, 2, and 1. Allowing ourselves to center with the chest coming even with the hips once again. Then pressing up. We use that core to raise up, and we'll find that counter stretch. So now resting the right leg down either the thigh, or we can reach for the calf, but not on the knee. And then we find a bend on this side as well. And let's stay here for 3, 2, and 1. Building all the way back up. And let's switch sides here. So taking that knee down, sending the left knee over. And then once again, we are left knee, left foot over. We have that foot in front of our hips. So it is diagonally in front of us. For me, this is just more comfortable. And here, I start to feel my lower back lock up. And I think this is a lot safer for us. Let's hold out those hands once again. We already did it on the other side, so we come down. We find our side bend first. We're feeling graceful. We're feeling long here. And then pressing the hips slightly forward, the chest opens up. We have a bend in the supporting elbow. Hand is wide. We reach back. Let's take one more breath. Coming back to center, using our core muscles here to help us press up. We reach back to our starting point, making sure the hips are in line with the chest once again, and dropping this hand to the thigh or the calf, and we side bend over on the other side. Let's stay here let's do 2 more breaths here. Last one. Reaching all the way open. Beautiful. Taking a hand down onto our mat. And we are going to allow ourselves to turn back to where our mat is vertical instead of horizontal again. We come into a little quadruped moment here. And we're going to end in our downward dog, but we'll be moving back to a relaxing position on our mat. So let's tuck the toes underneath. We lift the hips up towards the ceiling. And then making sure that the ears are being framed by the biceps. Reaching the tailbone up even higher, we'll drop one heel down, bending the opposite knee, and we paddle here. I think walking makes sense for walk the dog, but I think pedal makes a lot more sense because I feel like I'm riding a bicycle here sometimes. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reaching our heels down even more. And let's drop our knees down to the mat now, nice and gentle. We can keep them in line and underneath the hips. We're going into our child's pose. Or if it feels more comfortable for us, taking them out to the sides of the mat, taking the hips back towards the feet, and we can rest into the mat. I like to fold my forearms sometime and then use my forearms as a pillow. If we have a block, this is also a great place to put the block too. Next, reaching our hands out onto our mat. Let's walk our hands over to the left. And we're going to stay here, enjoying that side bend once again. Let's come back to center, walking over to the other side. And let's walk the hands all the way back forward now. Taking in this last bit of our child's pose, let's take one more breath and exhale. We have a few options today. You can sit up just a little bit, you know you might be sleepy, and lean over to the side. I forgot to list the rest of the options, but we can always rise up into a quadruped and do the same thing. So we're coming into a seated position, reaching those feet out in front of us. And let's reach the hands out in front of us as well, taking our back, scooping the tailbone underneath, and allowing us to just fall gracefully down. I'm going to scoot down once again. Option is always to bend our knees here so that our lower back feels good. Rolling the shoulders into the mat. Allowing ourselves to relax. Giving yourself the permission to rest. Thinking about this week, once again, attempting to find that happiness, but knowing that that is a hard endeavor. It's not easy. One of the first steps of that is to treat yourself with unconditional love. Trying to listen to your body, knowing that breaks are not for weakness, but they are for strength. Prioritizing ourselves just a little bit so that we can prioritize those around us, maybe better than we could before. I'm not going to say the airport analogy because it kind of drives me nuts when people tell me that. But allowing yourself to find what makes you happy if we are not happy where we are. Like acknowledging that maybe we're already achieving the goals we set before, but we're too busy on the new ones to notice. But just allowing yourself to notice a little bit, to celebrate. Celebrating your strength, your achievement, your intelligence. How much of a hard worker you are. And let's begin to take one more breath. Wiggling the fingers and the toes, rolling out the ankles and the wrists, welcoming all the sounds, all the pops that keeps our body moving. Let's take a hold of one knee, reaching the chin to the chest first, then rolling up nice and slow. And we can stay facing one direction, we can stay facing me. Let's begin to raise our hands all the way up towards the sky. Finding something you're thankful for. As we exhale, thinking of that intention or that goal that you set, but then remembering all the goals that you've achieved